Hey guys, so today I'm going to be wrapping up the last day of 2022 with my favorite things to happen in Yu-Gi-Oh this year. And there was a lot. Yu-Gi-Oh was a pretty good game, I'd say, this year. Obviously, we, did not have a perfect year. We had the loss of Katsuki Takahashi, which I think weighed pretty heavily on everybody, but as far as Yu-Gi-Oh goes, there's a lot to be happy about that happened this year. So we'll just take it from the top with the release of Master Duel. I think this far and away is like just the elephant in the room. We've always wanted a TCG simulator, and what we got was not quite that, but a very good game in its own right for a lot of reasons. I mean, Master Duel, you guys know what I've said about this game. I think that it really nails the production value and just kind of the aesthetics and like presentation of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very explosive, got bombastic music, great animations, the graphics and stuff look and feel really good, and it's a fun game to play. It's not perfect, it's got its hiccups, some people have their gripes with the cost of gems, or the fact that there's not like a best of 3 option, or no side decking, and really probably the biggest one is just that the card pool is not even with the TCG, and the ban list isn't even with the TCG. But because we're trying to keep this video positive, I will say that I think Master Duel does set out to accomplish a set of things, and it does accomplish those things, and that like it's a Yu-Gi-Oh game that you can download free to play and just play Yu-Gi-Oh kind of in the master format, and that really works. When this game came out, it was a very, very big deal because normal people were getting into Yu-Gi-Oh again. I remember when Duel Links came out, there were a lot of people who kind of came out of the woodwork and were like, oh wow, I remember Yu-Gi-Oh, like now I can play it on my phone. And Master Duel is kind of similar, where like no matter what console you're playing on, Switch or Xbox or PlayStation or PC or whatever, you can just download this game and try it out and like get your hands on Yu-Gi-Oh again. Now, what your exact experience will be if you have to deal with like a 10-minute turn and a load of negates and stuff, a little different. But Master Duel has been like overall a really like a net benefit. I've just heard a lot more Yu-Gi-Oh buzz since its release, and it really broke like download charts and stuff on Steam, so that's really cool. And they've even kept up with the game. They've added new game modes. They've continued to add new cards. It gets ban list more often than the TCG does. And there's been more like minions and like or mates or whatever, and sleeves and fields and other kind of aesthetic things. So it's certainly a game that they have not abandoned after launch, like certain other older Yu-Gi-Oh games. And so for that, I think it is probably the best thing to happen to Yu-Gi-Oh this year. But it's not all, because I've got more notes. The next thing is the return of in-person events. So after a very, very tragic 2020 and a pretty silent 2021, we did finally get the formal return of like YCS events and regionals that you can go to in person. You don't have to remote duel anymore. No offense to remote duels. It's some people like them. Not exactly my cup of tea. It's all right. But there's been so much controversy around it. So the fact that we finally got YCS events back is just really cool, and we still have a lot more exciting YCS events on the horizon, like, the 250th is supposed to be happening next year, but we'll get into that in a bit. Yeah, so, I think that just, it's been nice. People being able to travel to events again and, like, meet their friends, meet other Yu-Gi-Oh players, content creators, getting to, like, see each other for the first time is always kind of a heartwarming thing, because so many new content creators like sprouted up over just the pandemic, and like now you get to go to an event and like see the people in the flesh and meet your favorite creators, whatever, right? So I think that's been really cool, and it's clearly something that's going to be continuing, so a big thumbs up for that. I would also say that this year did a really good job with the structure decks. So we've had past years where structure decks have not really been all that good. I remember Spirit Charmers was not one of my favorites. I think, what was it? Freezing Chains wasn't very popular either, I remember. And then there was like the Egyptian God decks that were just a complete mess. This year's been very good. We got the Albaz structure deck, which was incredible. It was a structure deck that you could really take 3 copies of, and in addition to maybe a few other extra cards, make a very powerful, viable, like meta competitive deck. I think as a structure deck, it accomplished that really well. I'd say my only real gripe with the Albaz structure deck is maybe just that it's not as appealing to someone like on the shelf if you're not like into the competitive scene. You might not know what Albaz is or something, so maybe like the Crystal Beast deck, for instance, which we'll talk about in a second, would be more appealing to you. But still, I mean, it's just a very good structure deck, and also had very good reprints, so all in all, great thing, kind of shaped a meta around itself. And then the Crystal Beast deck was great. A lot of people are really big fans of Crystal Beasts. I was able to get my hands on it early and like play a video with it and like a duel, and that was really fun. I think the Dark World deck, while it kind of seemed like it didn't release at the best of times because we were kind of in this tier element, power creep tier 0 thing, and it's also having to contend with like Macro, Cosmos, and D-Fissure, is still a very strong structure deck. I think all 3 structure decks released this year were good. They're worth picking up. And I've even, you know, like I've seen the Crystal Beast deck do things that like are like it's a playable deck. It's done really well in a Heart of the Underdog format. And so while I did not initially think that it was like maybe the best structure, I think all of them just collectively are pretty good. So yeah, that was definitely a good thing. I think that the second half of the year in terms of products was really good. I think that they just nailed reprint sets very well this year. Goes from the Past, Second Haunting was like all right, but I think that the release of the Megatens and then the release of Magnificent Mavens and Crystal Revenge, just there was so many really great high value, high quality reprints that it became easy to finally get staple cards. In particular, Magnificent Mavens did a good job of, they said that they sort of reworked the reprint formula so that you'd be able to get more like bang for your buck per pack. And that's something that I think was a weakness with Ghosts from the Past and stuff earlier in the year, because the earlier part of the year did not have great products. I mean, it really didn't. But I think that they really got their act together, and the latter half of the year helped. They even did like double reprints of things like Forbidden Droplet this year, which I think is like crucial. They're like small improvements I'd like to see. I think that the tins really should go back to at least giving like a promo per tin, given the price that they are. And maybe come down a little bit on the rarities. Like Pot of Prosperity didn't need to be a secret rare again in a tin. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think that all in all, the reprint sets were great this year. That was definitely a win. And my last big thing is probably just that there's been a lot more Yu-Gi-Oh merch, which this started like kind of last year too, but I've seen a lot more people picking up like, you know, the big figures that you guys always see me showing off like on social media and stuff, like the Dark Magician figure, the Blue Eyes figure. You can find them in shops and stuff and buy them on Amazon and all that. I've seen a lot of that. I saw like there were actually like plushes and stuff that are at that store Five Below, which there's actually one where I live or near where I live, so I want to go check that out and pick some of those up. There's like a lot more Yu-Gi-Oh merch, so it's actually a really good time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, even if you're not necessarily a Yu-Gi-Oh player. There's just a lot to do. And I guess I'll give an honorable mention to Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duel, which did come out this year. It has not had really as much buzz. I don't think it got quite the right marketing push, and it's a game that's a little bit tougher to get into because it's different, and it's for a very different type of person. But still, more Yu-Gi-Oh! Games is not something to complain about in general. I mean, I'm just glad that they exist at all. I know Alex has played it, and he said he's really liked it, so, you know, it's a thing. If you're into Cross Duel, then good for you, and if you aren't, maybe at least give it a try, check it out. It could be worth it. So yeah, I think going into 2023, things are looking pretty good. I know that I'm excited about the 250th YCS. That's going to be pretty big. That's like being held in 3 locations. I remember going to the 200th YCS back in 2018, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, personally. I had a lot of fun with it. So I'm going to be trying to go to that. I know next year they're going to be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! Which has, you know, them reprinting a lot of classic Yu-Gi-Oh packs like LOB and Spell Ruler, Pharaoh's Servant. So for those of you guys who maybe wanted to do like a Rare Hunters type of series with your friends, you should be able to buy these in stores. That's like looking pretty cool. And even Konami hopefully will be like changing some things up. I know they did that like roundtable thing with DZeef and some other like people in the community. So presumably they'll be able to do more. Come on, Konami, reach out to me, talk to me. I'd like to be on one. Sheesh. And yeah, so that would be very fun. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like we just more cards, more sets. I'm thinking of that one like Arc 5 song. Your turn, your tricks. Sorry, I'm rambling. All right, anyways, it's been a cool year. 2022 has been fun. Hopefully next year's even better. Let me know down in the comments what was your favorite thing to happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! This year, the best part of Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2022, and what are you looking forward to next year in 2023? All right, that's going to be it. I will see you guys in the next one. Fast turn.